This is Rating Descending,
where we watch IMDb's worst 250 movies so you don't have to.
My name's Michelle St. Clair.
My name is Abigail Ward.
And this week we watched The Last Airbender. Follows the adventures of Aang, a young successor to a long line of avatars who must master all four elements and stop the Fire Nation from enslaving the Water Tribes and the Earth Kingdom. Let's watch. Hey guys, it's the beginning of the episode.
They're paying you, right?
Oh, hey, whoa, what is that? A third voice?
Who's this?
Well,
in your
holy
ear
shit.
holes?
I was a returning friend of the podcast, Gaden Sousa. Holy shit. Wowee.
I've done it.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I'm back. You can't get rid of me.
Yeah.
Oh
I'm here forever now. I live in the
goodness.
walls.
Yeah. Anyone who really hates the Spy Kid episodes is going to really ruthlessly hate this one.
Tough week for them.
How does it feel being brought back from the dead? Resurrected?
Good. I feel like Jesus.
Oh.
I think that's a good parallel, right?
Yeah. Was the
We're similar.
crucifixion painful?
Well, yeah, you guys were not kind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You really
obvious-
drove the spikes in there.
Obviously, that's what it is that we did it.
Yeah.
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 Of course.
I'm glad in this analogy we crucified Jesus. That feels awesome as an opening
Yeah.
to our episode.
There's something very Jesus-like about Gaden.
I think actually I agree with you there.
Yeah. He preaches good vibes. That's what Jesus did, right?
Well, and
Yeah.
the resurrection.
Good
Yeah.
vibes, resurrection. Those are the first
Those
two
are
things. If
the
I ever
two
run for
checkboxes.
office, that's what's on the that's what's on the list.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great to have you back, Gaden.
Nice, lovely to be
We should
back.
give Gaden a window to say whatever he wants.
Yeah, here's your 30
your
seconds,
minute.
man. Use it fucking wisely.
And then you're not fucking opening your mouth for the rest of
I
this
won't
episode.
talk for the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
Okay,
Fucking
does the
better
time
not.
start
You get
now?
30
Has it already
seconds of
started?
any bit you want.
You're
Any
wasting
bit
the
I
30
want?
seconds.
Any bit you want.
It's
'Cause you've
going.
already
It's
lost,
slipping
like,
through my fingers.
17 of
believe
them.
this.
I was just going to say, you have made my dream come true by putting me on a podcast, and now my other dream to be a recurring guest on a podcast.
It's a pretty
Ooh.
is
funny
now
bit,
coming
man.
true.
It's a pretty funny bit.
All right,
We
time's
can't all
up.
be comedians
Pull
like
up.
you,
You're
Michelle.
nose diving, huh?
We can't all be comedians
Okay,
like you.
we can't bully the guests.
We can with this guest.
It's because he's family.
That's true.
I'm part of the Rating Descending family.
Yeah.
And my role in the family, we all fill familiar roles. I
Yeah.
am the bullied one.
Yeah, exactly.
No, Gaden's been a great support tonight. Guys, I had my food stolen, and it's all I can think about. I ordered an Uber order. I got here, timed it perfectly, and someone stole it off of Michelle's front doorstep. And I fucking know it's your neighbor. I'm actually more set on it now.
No, sorry. It's important for context. You arrived. I said, "Did you remember the mic?" And then you went, "Oh," and left to go back home and
Yeah.
drive back. And then your food was stolen.
Yeah,
then
but
you
it was
came
still
back perfectly
perfectly
on time.
timed.
Oh yeah, no, it
Yeah.
was. I just wanted to say like it was an add to insult. You know.
It's been a bit of a mess of a night. So then I've made another order and my food is finally here. But I have lost faith in humanity tonight.
Yeah.
My greatest fear is food getting stolen off of a doorstep before I can collect it, and someone in the space of 2 or 3 minutes managed to swipe mine.
Yeah.
I know it's your neighbor.
Abby, just for my interest, what food is it? What have you got to eat?
It's just Thai food. It's a little soup and a
Nice.
little pad Thai. I'm a humble woman,
Yeah.
you know?
You don't
Nothing
need much.
special.
No.
I just wanted a bit of sustenance
Yeah.
for tonight. And you know what I'm running on? A Zupa Duper.
Yeah.
While my food sits here on the chat. You know what? You and Gaden should just go ham, have this opening. I'm just going to eat my food.
For context,
just in the corner.
I don't know whether they have those in other countries. It's like a really long pouch of ice block.
Yeah.
You know? As if you got like a sugary liquid in just like a loose plastic pouch and then
Yeah.
just froze
I don't
it.
know why, but the word pouch disturbs me when
It-
describing Zupa Duper. Like there's something in my
I guess
body
it's,
goes,
it's a
I don't
tube,
like that.
right?
Tube is
It
better.
sounds too,
It's a
you know,
sack.
It is a
It's a
pouch.
plastic bag of ice.
the
There's something
sugar
too,
sack.
There's something too fleshy about a pouch.
Yes, I think that's it. I think
Yeah.
that's it. It's too human-y. It's too
It is.
kangaroo-y
It's too
and
mammal-like.
mammal-y.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, to be fair, that's my problem with Zupa Dupers. Too fleshy.
Yeah, too fleshy. Not enough plastics.
We got an email though,
Whoa.
and it's particularly relevant to this
Wait, I'm not sure
episode.
if I'm ready to move on from my trials and tribulations concerning my food. Can we
No,
just...
we'll pepper that in throughout
Okay,
the episode.
we'll return to
That
it.
was we're Rashomon
Because
again.
I'm staring at it
we'll
right
have
now.
Abby's stolen food corner.
Yeah.
It's a new segment on the on
Oh, I
Reddit
can't
Sunday.
keep writing segment music.
That's why I keep coming back as a guest to make you do it. That's my goal.
We do so many like audio audio music bits. I'm not that talented a musician.
More.
I really don't know how to do it.
Abby and I will write the song. We'll just sing at random points throughout the episode. You got to put music to it.
Yeah.
I love that. That's way easier.
But we'll make it a really soulful one. It'll be like Abby's stolen food corner.
This is like your Minecraft update music. Well, this is better because Abby usually sings for like 5 minutes and then I have to turn it into a 10-second jingle.
Yeah, that is true.
I think we got it first try.
We got... Now I have to do it.
Did we get an email? What's it got to do with my food?
It has to do with The Last Airbender.
Did they know it was going to happen?
Yeah, no, it is, Dear Abby, I have your food.
Drop $25,000 in unmarked bills under a bridge. Make sure you're not followed.
Abby, that's some fancy food.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a silly one today, huh? We're getting stuck in the goofy zone tonight.
This is nearly 8:30 on a Thursday night. Yep.
Ooh, it's a school night. Yeah, we got an email from Luke Anton, long time listener. Dearest Michelle and Abigail, I hear you are watching The Last Airbender next week. Might I say, this movie was the first film I ever said, hey, that wasn't good, afterwards. I'm an aggressively huge fan of the show. I assume referring to Avatar, not this show. I took all six is in brackets. I took all 6 of my friends at the time to go watch this movie for my 11th birthday. I now hate my birthday. Thanks a lot, Shyamalan.
Oh my God.
Luke.
Still? How old are they now?
Who knows? There's no way to know.
Resentment to
I'm
be
not getting
sitting
that.
on your entire life.
Yeah.
It
Poor
is.
Luke.
Yeah, poor Luke. Luke, my heart goes out to you. My heart goes out
It's
to you.
really tough.
But at the same time, just watch something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of other good movies. Just watch the show again.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to handle the emails from fans is to go like, hey, fuck you. Huh?
Well, I was going to say, I, like Luke, also think this is the first time I realized movies could be bad and I could not like them. Like, genuinely, especially rewatching it today, which Michelle forced me out of my bed at 7 o'clock in the morning to come over and watch this.
Because we had work all day, so we
She
needed
put
to
a
watch it
knife to
beforehand.
your
Horrible.
throat.
She did. She held me at gunpoint on
She
the
put
couch.
a sack over your head. She bound your hands and your feet.
No,
She
literally.
put you in her boot.
As we were driving back to my place from Gaden's place, he was expressing like, I can't believe you do this every week. And I was like,
Yeah.
every fucking week, man. It was the first time he had realized like really the task that you and I have undertaken, Abby.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
You guys are torturing yourselves.
On paper, it doesn't sound like that much of an effort.
doesn't.
And yet, every week,
Every week.
it's a chore.
Every week begins and I go, another one. I
Yeah.
would have to watch another one of these.
Careful with your food, Gaden.
I just got the Uber. Oh, God, I want to burp on this mic so bad.
Oh, do it.
That's-
Join me.
You got to do it at Abby
my
style and
God.
like basically
Should we
throw
all do
up.
a-
No, I
Let's
need
do
to.
a burp together.
Is that
A family burp?
sorta?
Wow.
Sorta. That's cool.
But this really was, the first time I remember, like, because I was so excited. We were away on a family holiday with my mum, and my mum took me, and we got there late. And we went in, and I think I remember going like, oh, is this it? Like, and then,
Yeah.
like they were in the water tray, and it was like, oh, is this it? And then it was.
Yeah.
And I remember just coming out and being so deflated. I don't think I even knew what to say to my mum, and I would have been like 10, I think.
Oh.
It was truly tragic.
Well, I mean, hey, speaking of the dawning realization of existential dread, this week we watched The Last Airbender.
Speaking of The Last Airbender, this week we watched The Last Airbender.
All right, I tried to put a little finesse on it. Wait, I just remembered, Abby, this is the first time you watched this.
Oh, yeah.
Gade and I had both already seen it.
Yeah.
As I revealed,
We all liked the show.
Broke me fundamentally.
Abby,
I was an virgin. No, it didn't work.
you're a virgin,
I'm a virgin.
No,
but you're already married.
no,
Yeah,
wait.
but I'm saving myself for death.
No, Abby, you're the last virgin.
I'm the last virgin.
You're the last virgin.
Oh my
Yes.
You're
god.
the last virgin.
I get it.
You can combine
No,
all 4 kinds of sex: oral, anal,
I don't know what any of those
Vaginal.
are. And it sounds
penile.
disgusting.
or
Penile.
a hand.
Hand. We just had a bit of hand sex.
Well, like a hand job.
That's what the kids
Or
are calling it this
fingering.
day. Hand sex.
Yeah, hand sex.
All right, what's your pitch?
She got handed.
What for the 4 elements of the 4?
Yeah.
Wait.
The four genitals.
Anal.
Nah, you got it. You nailed
Oral.
it.
And then the hands attacked. I really didn't. Okay, let me just, as a brief outline, this was my
Yeah,
experience.
sure,
So
yeah.
please.
Hadn't seen it before. Obviously, have watched the show, love the show, great show. Didn't I started this and I was just blown away by how
Yeah, oh, yeah.
poorly it was directed.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't know who the director was. And so I started watching it being like, wow, did they give like some fucking film student like $150 million
like
to
the
make
Colin
this film?
Trevorrow safety not guaranteed to Jurassic World.
I was like, surely this is someone's first gig.
Oh, Abby. Oh, sweet
the movement
Abby.
of the camera and just some of the choices with editing in particular was just so strange as well. Like there were so many strange
Yeah.
decisions, and I was like, I can't believe how amateur this looks, despite all of the big grandiose locations and the CGI and the cast. I was like, it's so amateur looking. And then when I saw it was M. Night, I lost my shit.
So
I was
you
like,
knew-
as fucking if.
I think that means you knew maybe the funniest possible set of information about the movie.
Yeah.
You knew the plot of the show, but not who made it.
Yeah. And I was just shocked. There was a couple of like just framing choices. There's one shot where like Aang is so close to the camera, it's like a close up, and I'm like, step away. Like someone needed to pull this camera back.
Get
a bit.
me out
Even
of here.
I
Stop
don't-
me looking at him.
You know me, I'm a story-driven person, but even I could tell the visuals of this film were so fucking off.
Oh, no,
all the time.
it's immediate.
The framing, the editing, and the actual direct, like the choice and direction. How did he make Avatar so not cool?
Yeah.
Literally
Right?
in the opening
No.
sequence, I'm like, even the sound is
Yes.
shit. I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
want to hear like water going gluk, 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 gluk. I want it to be like,
Yeah. It sounds like just a bag of water getting shook.
yeah. Even the sound was terrible. Like
Yeah.
almost every aspect of this film was fucking horrible.
Every choice that has been made is not just a bad choice; it's the worst
And
possible choice.
I can't imagine, like, I get it, Luke Anton, I get it. Because if I was, like, obsessed with Avatar and I went to go see this film as
Me.
a kid, it would
Me.
break my heart.
Me.
Luke, this episode's for you, all
And
right?
for Gaden. And it's about Gaden.
It's about me.
It's about Gaden. It's for Luke.
What have we got to do with it?
We're here. We're here every week.
You facilitate.
We're here
Lawyer.
for the long haul.
We mediate, we facilitate.
We're here for much more than just this.
Sometimes we oscillate.
Yeah. Usually vibrate.
Abby, was there anything you liked?
Yeah, it's the beginning of the episode. Let's get into highlights.
Just to pull the mood
I
up.
haven't described the movie. What are the highlights?
You know what I did like? As much as the film was shit, I still felt like Dev Patel was giving it his all.
Yes.
I kept
He
saying
was
it. I kept saying
genuinely
it to
the
Michelle.
highlight. It's
He's-
just
he's
how much
trying.
he was trying.
Yeah.
Because this was right after
100%.
Slumdog. He'd had his big break, and I'm
Yeah.
sure he was keen to make a mark still. And I don't
It's
know,
like
his
a big
acting was
movie.
great.
It's your
There's
first big kind
bits
of
where he's
like studio movie. Yeah,
his eyes are welling with tears, and
Yeah.
he's so angry. And
Yeah.
I watched some of an interview, I think, for the Hollywood Reporter, where
Yeah.
he talked about, he made a joke that like the budget for Slumdog, he kept referring to a movie he did just after Slumdog that was very clearly this.
Yeah.
He was like, the budget for Slumdog was like the craft services budget for this
Yeah.
movie.
yeah.
And he said like this movie taught him to say no to projects.
Good on him.
And, like I looked through his filmography today, and like it is smaller than I thought, but they're all fucking like banger after banger.
He's so good in all of them.
Yeah,
He's
he's
so
a
good. I
really
love him.
wonderful actor. From Anwar to in Skins, I'm glad
Yeah.
he's fucking skyrocketed. But he was a highlight. So
Yeah.
Dev Patel,
Nice.
his performance was great. And I actually really liked the guy that played Iroh.
I was gonna say the same thing.
I thought he did a great job as well, and he kind of gave that kind of cheeky but very like serious and wise aspect.
and he's
to
also doing something like different, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Unlike everybody else. Involved.
Yeah.
But I do have to say, I mean, like the elephant in the room. Why did they cast white people at all? Why?
That
And
is-
why did they make the Fire Nation like Indian and Pakistani?
Truly.
I
Truly, the first note I have is just because I was like, oh, I'm sitting next to Michelle. I have to look professional, so I took notes on my phone.
I don't bother, so it's all right.
But also, I forget things.
I'll cut that.
Oh, I have heaps of notes.
I mean, put all those notes down. They're
Australia's
filling up the
largest
room.
mix of collectibles from decor fashion.
My first note is just they're so white. They're
so
so
white.
white.
They are. And like obviously like that is the main thing that people know about
Yeah.
this movie.
And It's not like the show was vague about what
No.
countries and
It's-
cultures
it's
each
very
nation was
clear.
based on.
Absolutely.
The
Yeah.
Fire Nation's clearly Japan. The Earth Nation is clearly China.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Air Nation is clearly Tibet.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
100%.
the water tribes are clearly like Inuit.
Inuit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very clear what cultures they're based on.
Which-
therefore, it's so easy to cast a diverse, interesting, appropriate cast.
Changing it is one thing that is already awful, but like the rest of the water tribe are Inuit.
Are they?
Some of them you see
what?
you
A lot of
see
them.
at the start, like
Why?
when they're running, when like the Fire Nation have arrived. There's just like a bunch of Inuit children around them,
What?
and then it's just like
Oh, so you're
Katara-
acknowledging it?
Yeah, it's Katara and Sokka,
Yeah.
the two whitest people in the
wo-
world.
Oh god. Oh my god. Fucking her brother. What's her brother's name?
Sokka being
Played
Jackson Rathbone.
Jackson Rathbone, the fucking Confederate from Twilight.
Confederate vampire strikes again.
Oh my god! All I
he's-
remember about us talking about him in the Twilight episode is me saying that I would love to get my hands on some Confederate gold, and you threatening to cut it out of the episode.
I don't remember if I did or didn't. I think I left it in.
A bit of bonus material for the listeners.
Yeah, bonus material.
Go back and
Abby
listen.
really wants
Find
Confederate
out
gold.
if Abby got to keep her Confederate gold or not.
Oh, I've got stacks of it, baby. It's all in chests under the floorboards.
Turn that. Look, let me just get into key details because I want to talk more about some of the other atrociously miscast actors like Asif Manvi.
Yeah.
So we'll get into it. So better podcasts with more equipment have like an interface with like a button
can
that
hear
can
it,
then
right?
do it, and then
Yeah.
we could hear it.
What if it was just like, wah, wah, or like, boing, boing?
You want to replace our transition music with that? You want to replace our transition music with boing, yoing, yoing?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. And then now that's going to play for sure. That has to be it. This is a really audio editing heavy episode.
Yeah.
We're putting this. Wait, can I add something?
Yeah.
So it's going to be boing, and then
There we go. Yeah. That's great. It's more work. Yeah.
wait,
it's
and
awesome.
then ang.
Why are they saying
Jesus
on?
fucking Christ!
Wait,
No.
we got to save that. We got to save it.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Boing.
Ang.
So some of the key details. This was released in 2010, which means like 12 years ago.
Wow.
I was 12.
We already talked about the director, M. Night Shyamalan, you know, it directed the fucking The Village.
Height of his powers.
Sixth
then,
Sense.
right?
Sixth Sense.
The Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense. I guess you could
The-
say Height of His
He did-
Powers.
Lady in
Split.
the Water. Split.
Split was
Split.
terrible.
Old.
I hated
was
Split.
horrible.
Yeah.
Cruel.
He hasn't done anything good for 10
He
years.
did that
at
one
least.
about
No,
the
I mean-
beach that makes you old.
Old.
You know,
It's
I think
called
this
Old.
movie could have used a beach that makes
I
you
really
old.
like Old. Old's cool.
He's a very
Imagine-
ambitious director. It's just that he very rarely does actually hit the mark.
Imagine
you,
you
know?
get little Aang and you just put him on a beach that makes him old.
But also
I know.
imagine making like Sixth Sense when you're like 24 or whatever,
Yeah.
and
It
then
would go to
everyone's
your
like,
head.
"You are the next best director ever. You were nominated for all these awards," and then they just keep giving you money. Like
Yeah.
that would fuck you.
And
up.
hey, I actually really liked The Village. And I
heard it's
acknowledge some of the flaws in it, but I really liked the atmosphere of it and the idea of it.
He
I
makes
liked
interesting
it.
choices.
He makes interesting
He's
choices, and he has
swinging.
films that people talk about.
Yeah.
But recently, I just think he's gone a bit off the rails.
Yeah.
And I really walked into this blind and not knowing
mean,
that he was
I-
responsible.
To be honest, this movie's a fuckfest. I actually don't think it's his worst movie. I think his worst movie is The Happening, where Mark
yeah.
Wahlberg plays a
Wind.
science teacher who loves to bully students, and then everyone kills themselves because of the wind.
Yeah.
I really hate that movie.
No, that one.
I really hate that movie.
I have
Yeah.
not seen it.
There's like he literally like bullies a teen because he's like, oh, you little hot boy, you know, when you get older, oh, your cheekbones are gonna move and you're gonna look ugly as shit. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing as a teacher? Anyway, that's not the movie we're doing.
Can I just say that Wahlberg impression was both bad and also completely accurate?
Thank you. I thought it was close enough.
The heightened Wahlberg.
That's what I mean.
You could hear me trying to do enough of a Boston accent that you got it without having to commit to
the
it.
spirit of him was in the room.
Yeah. It's like I think of it as Wahlberg adjacent. You know.
Can I cough real quick?
Yes, you can.
Sorry.
You
No.
go for it. Let's hold a seance
fucked
and
it. Do you want me to-
conjure Mark Wahlberg
do you want me
into
to
the room.
kick me out of here?
Oh yeah. You can cough wicked hard.
Mackie Mac.
You can cough wicked hard.
Mackie Mac, where are you?
Mackie Mac.
You're in
Now
the
I wish
funky
we
bunch.
were filming video.
Hey, come on. I'm fucking Sully, you know, in Uncharted. I'm
wait.
the old man.
Guys, we got to get back on
right.
track. We'll never make it through. This is the fifth attempt.
I'm Sully.
So this was starring, sorry, for context, in case I cut it out, Gaden is falling apart because of my Mark Wahlberg impression. This is starring Noah Ringer, played Aang. He had never acted before.
You
and
could tell.
You could tell.
Oh, really?
He's-
I'm shocked.
He's trying.
Yeah.
He's really
He's
trying.
doing his
So
best.
what?
He was partly cast because he's a Taekwondo expert. Now, as I know Gaden
Right.
wants to talk about later, that is not the martial art that the Airbenders do.
Oh my
and
God.
is why it doesn't look right.
He's also not doing a great job.
Yeah, he's not.
He's not really given
Interesting.
chance to show that he's an expert.
I love that he was hired just because he had the what the director thought was the athletic ability, but not the acting chops, and he still didn't have the
he
athletic
had to
ability.
take acting classes.
He was
Actually,
horrible.
I have a different
know
piece of
he was a
trivia about
child.
that, but I'll get to
I know
it.
he was a child, but he was fucking horrible in it.
But I don't want to Jake Lloyd. I don't want to Jake Lloyd this.
No,
where
yeah.
we
Jake Lloyd.
He played Anakin in Phantom Menace, where people, like he's not great, but he's also given like really awful
Jake
dialogue.
Lloyd was as bad as this kid. So let's keep bullying this kid, is what I'm
Abby
saying.
you're right.
hates him.
I
is
hate
what I'm
Well, he's
hearing.
an adult now. So
Who else was in this movie?
Dev Patel played Zuko, as we talked about.
Yeah.
Asif Manvi played Commander Zhao, as I think one of the most egregious miscasting in the whole movie, along with Cliff Curtis playing Ozai.
Don't you
He
mean
looks-
Zhao?
Oh, sorry, yeah, this movie keeps saying it's Zhao.
It's Zhao,
Yeah,
yeah.
no,
Asif
didn't they
Manvi
say
plays
Zhao? I heard them say Zhao.
No.
Maybe they alternated. They weren't very
I think they
consistent.
did. I heard a character say Zhao.
Okay.
Once.
It is very funny that Asif Manvi is playing Zhao. Like, you can already hear what's wrong.
His face is too kind to play this character.
My pitch to Gaten, he's doing a really great, like, evil senator.
Yeah.
Right? Who's like trying to stop Zuko
Sniveling.
from getting military resources,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
he's not like commanding general who bullies people. Now, the budget for this was $150 million.
Get
Fucking
fucked.
hell.
which in
Get-
2010 especially,
Oh my god.
the box office was $319.7 million.
Whoa.
It was so it would have just made its budget back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
Which is, I guess, why he's not in director jail forever now.
Yeah, exactly. At least it wasn't a commercial flop, but just a critical flop.
Well, still a flop because they don't like
wasn't
just
a profit.
making the amount of money they spent on it.
I
I have here it's the most expensive movie ever produced by Nickelodeon Movies, and it had an additional $130 million in advertising.
Fuck. It wasn't like
Oh
a
my
flop.
God.
I mean, it was a flop, but it wasn't like a they didn't lose money, you know?
Yeah,
They made ends meet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. I also, for when we were watching this earlier, I turned to Michelle and I said, "Don't tell me what the budget is yet. I want to hear it." But I know it's too high for what this looks like.
Yeah.
And my God, was I right? 150 million for that piece, for them to make a tiny rock the size of my head float across the screen.
yeah,
Oh man, that's rough.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's really rough.
Jesus.
And the returning actors, the Rating Descending All Stars, we already talked about Jackson Rathbone being
Yeah.
in New Moon, and Asif Manvi was in movie 43.
Was he?
Yeah. This also, I forgot to write it down, but it also had, what the?
Sorry, listener at home. Michelle's just looking through. Yep, just give her a second. And have you found it?
I have the power of edit, so this doesn't matter.
Do whatever you want.
If I don't approve this, it's gone.
Did you think it was funny in the moment?
You just have to please her.
Did I get you in the moment?
Be kind.
Did I get you in the moment?
And then you listen back to the episode, and in this moment, you just hear, "I am an asshole."
No, you just cut me out of the podcast altogether. I'm just not here.
Nicola,
Every time you say my name, it's just redacted. Sorry.
it's bleeped. Nicola Peltz plays Katara. She's barely in it. Katara's like the secondary main character in the first season of the show.
Yeah.
She was in it a lot, I thought. In the film she was in. Like, she was in it a lot.
She's
doesn't
in
do
the opening,
anything.
and then she just sort of hangs out. She doesn't really
Katara?
participate in the movie.
What?
She doesn't do
she's
anything.
there.
She's like the
she
voiceover.
doesn't-
She's giving the most bored voiceover I've ever heard
It's a
in my
terrible
life. It's-
voiceover, but I actually thought she
horrible.
was present. I didn't think she was like absent from it. She was still doing shit.
I do
she just
agree
wasn't
that
as
she's
skilled
there.
As she was in
She's
the show.
definitely in shots.
Yeah,
But
but
of
she's
the movie.
talking.
But like,
Sometimes.
you would never argue that she's the lead of this.
No,
and you
but-
could argue that she's maybe the lead of the first season
That's
of the
true.
show.
That's true.
She has a real arc that's beautiful in the first season of a show.
Yeah.
That's like about her, like
Yeah.
growing up and becoming, like figuring out her place in the world, and it's does not.
Well, it doesn't feel like anyone's a
happening
protagonist in this because you don't get a chance to get close to them emotionally.
Absolutely.
Well,
At
but,
all.
but also because protagonists are in
100%.
stories, and that's not what this is.
It's so funny, Abby, that you, the screenwriter in the room, you know, the most screenwriter person who was always banging on about story. You like came at the direction so hard, whereas I like the script for this, and the way it's structured in particular.
Yeah.
Because like obviously we've all seen the show. The shows, TV shows are very different. They've got lots more time to go through everything, but like they just skim over so many things that are important in the show that give like weight to the interior world of the characters. And this film, like you're right, like. No one feels like they're a character because we don't know what anyone wants, and things just happen to them.
Yeah,
But I have
any
no
insight.
idea what they're meant to be doing.
I'm pretty sure every 20 minutes there's like a 3-paragraph long exposition narration, so don't worry
over
about
a
it.
shitty montage.
Yeah. Let me.
Wait, we've got to let Michelle finish. Yeah.
we
sorry.
haven't gotten through the overview. I got so much to talk about.
So sorry.
All right. A century has passed since the Fire Nation declared war on the other 3 nations of air, water, and earth in their attempt to conquer the world. Katara and her older brother Sokka, who live in the Southern Water Tribe, discover an unusual iceberg. Breaking into the iceberg releases a beam of light and reveals a 12-year-old boy named Aang. Sorry, in this movie, Aang. And his pet, flying bison, Appa. Zuko, the disgraced prince of the Fire Nation, detects the light from Aang's release. Oh, I hate saying it. From Aang's release. And arrives at the Southern Water Tribe to demand the villagers hand over the Avatar, the only person capable of bending the magic, all 4 elements, who has been missing for 100 years. Aang reveals himself as the Avatar and turns himself in. After escaping from Zuko, he rejoins Katara and Sokka and then journeys to the Air Nomad Temple. After discovering that his entire people have been wiped out, Aang travels to the Earth Kingdom where he reminds the people there that they can fight and proceeds to lead the people in a revolt against their Fire Nation oppressors in a series of montages. After being captured by the Fire Nation sometime later, he is rescued by none other than Zuko, but escapes from his clutches and returns to his friends. They then head to the Northern Water Tribe so that Aang can learn from the waterbending masters. However, the Fire Nation invades to capture Aang and kill the magical fish that embodies the moon spirit. Aang saves the day by summoning a giant wave and killing all the invaders. Zuko escapes, and the Northern Water Tribe bow down to the still uncertain Avatar Aang. Now, if anyone listening has not watched the movie but have watched the show, you'll understand how fucking insane that is.
I watched this movie like 10 hours ago, and I don't remember that happening in the movie because my eyes just kept glazing over and falling off and looking at the wall behind it.
It's a trauma response.
Yeah, genuinely. From when I was 12, and this movie ruined me forever.
Yeah,
like Luke.
It really is insane. Like the movie, the show ends up being so much about like the ethics of killing and like pacifism, and this movie ends by him just killing everyone.
And Aang kills a lot of people.
Yeah, it kills a lot of
Why
people.
do they say Aang? Why is it Aang?
It's horrible.
It's just Aang in the show.
Do they think they're being more accurate?
It's not like
I don't
Aang
understand.
the Avatar.
No.
Avatar.
Avatar.
The Avatar.
Aang the Avatar.
It's just Aang the Avatar.
I mean, in terms of also what really struck me is like how British Katara's grandma was.
Oh,
Did you guys realize that? She's like, realize your destiny. I'm like, why is she in the snow village? What is going on?
That's because she is played by Catherine Houghton, who was in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, The Gardener, Mr. North. I don't know. She was in a bunch of movies in like the 60s and 70s and stuff.
But was she British?
She is not. She's American.
Oh.
Wow, she sounds really English in this
Why
movie.
did she try and make herself sound different to her grandchildren?
And this is her last movie before she died.
Rough one to go out on.
That sucks.
It's a rough one to go out on.
It is. Yeah. It's a bad end to a career.
But also, like, listening to you say all of that, like, it sounds ridiculous. So anyone who has seen this movie and thinks they shouldn't watch the show, like, the show is better. The show does all of those things better.
Yeah, no, he doesn't, like... I mean, really the most egregious sequence, in my opinion, because the 40-minute... Like, the whole third act is like half of the fucking movie, but it's just dull.
I can't remember it.
Really, the most egregious sequence is the, like, bit where he gets he goes to the Earth Kingdom. He gets taken to their prison, which in the show is like a metal area on water so that the earthbenders can't use the earth.
Yeah.
Instead, it is literally just like a loose dirt field.
It is. There's a lot of earth around.
It's awful. It's so awful.
Where Aang, in a very James Cameron white savior moment, goes, do you guys know that you can just fight them? Then you wouldn't be oppressed. And they all kind of go, oh, fuck, you're right.
He literally says, there's earth beneath your feet. I'm like, what? Did no one for however long they've been here think of that?
The dialogue
What's the ground?
The dialogue is remarkable. He's like, would anything change if the Avatar was here?
He says it exactly like that as well.
And then also I love later when Iroh starts like firebending and someone goes, it's just fire coming out of nowhere. And there's also that bit where Katara's just like, maybe, oh my God, his big bison thing floats. We could have just had a shot of her looking at Appa and be like, cool, we get it.
Yeah.
She's shocked.
It's awful. But also the fire coming out of his hands is I think the thing that makes me the angriest in this movie in terms of adaptation is like in the show, the firebenders just make fire.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's sick.
Which we talked about is really important from a world building perspective because that's the key to their prowess is that they have like an extra military force anywhere.
You can't take their bending away.
Yeah.
They're magic cups.
That's
they
the
have
like
guns.
That's the like soldiers have canned food so now they can go further of this world.
And taking it away just feels really boring and just means that they're not strong at all.
And the fight sequences are slow and delayed because they're taking the time to do the moves and then they like whoosh over and grab water or fire and then they slowly throw it at each other.
The rock
and it's
one
like,
is the
speed
worst.
it up. Yeah, the rock one.
Is in the one in that Earth Kingdom sequence where it pans over and there's I think I counted 6 dudes in a group doing a like full 5 to 10 second long dance chant and movement. And then a like maybe like stomach sized rock, like a big enough rock that if you picked it up, you'd be like, "Whoa, that's a big rock,"
It's
but
heavy.
small enough that looking at it, you're like, "That's not a big, that's a small rock." It slowly floats over to a guy, and then when it connects with him, it explodes, and he flings backward in the wrong direction.
Nice. I feel like there was a moment where Zuko and Aang are fighting, and there's a bit where Zuko's like throwing flames, and it hits a pot, and it explodes in front of Aang, and then Aang just kind of stands up and is just a target for a good 3 seconds, and Zuko's just standing there. This is still mid-fight, and then Aang starts running. It's just there's no urgency in the fight.
And it's because it feels like everyone is just like walking into their mark.
Yeah.
Like that's what all of it feels like is it's just like people waiting for him to say action and then they're like, okay, I'm doing the thing. And they all look like robots.
Yeah.
Like it's so bizarrely directed in that way.
Yeah.
And the fight choreography is awful. In the show, we mentioned this earlier, like the different bending styles are like inspired by such different real martial arts and like they just didn't do that. So not only did none of them look like in the show, they all look like each other and really mushy and not thematic at all.
And as someone like I did Kung Fu, Wushu and Hong Kong for like 15, 16 years and like the way they do them, like it's so funny that you're like, he was a Taekwondo expert, the guy who played Aang.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm like watching it and I'm like, you would never they just flail their arms about. They're not even like actual strikes or anything like that. It's just people doing fancy things and it means nothing.
Yeah.
Would you call yourself a martial arts expert?
Well, I was a black belt and I did teach people.
So if we got into a fight right now, do you reckon I'd win or you'd win?
I think we've spoken about this many times, but I would win.
Okay. What about you and
agree
Abby?
that Gaden would win because Michelle, though she has a lot of persistence and endurance, she'll also just burst into tears if anyone
true.
tried to physically
She also does
fight.
sit at her computer all day.
Yeah,
do,
she's-
yeah.
The physical strength side is not there. But if
Yeah.
you try and push her over, she will not fall.
I have
Her center of
witnessed.
gravity.
I have witnessed.
But if you
Impossible
win,
to do.
I'll claim it's a hate crime.
No.
And I'll win the
No,
moral
you
victory.
can't come on the podcast.
Michelle, I know you're about to ask if Gaden and I fought who would win, and it's still Gaden. 100%. We're very tall, you and me, but
Yeah.
we're
You are-
very weak women.
You are.
That's true.
I collect the tall women and you two are the tallest.
You're saying that we couldn't just beat this like guy who has a black belt
No.
because we want to?
No,
That's
unfortunately
so weird. Oh my god.
I would say, like, I think it's just a shame because not only has it got a poor script and it's got a poor director behind it, but the director also made poor casting decisions and not
Oh,
even
yeah.
just in the aspect of race, just in terms of talent as well. Like,
Yeah.
I have to say, all of the kids in this just weren't very good.
Yeah.
Like, even Katara wasn't great.
Well, Jackson Rathbone, you can't call a kid. At this point,
Exactly.
he was a grown man.
Yeah, he was a grown man, and even he wasn't very good.
It is truly the worst child act. Like I'm usually pretty generous to kid actors as
Yeah.
well, but like it is god awful.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I mentioned to Gaden the game I played the last time that I'd watched this. I'm pretty certain that Jackson Rathbone does not blink once in this movie. And it's like much more noticeable than in other movies when people
Yeah.
don't blink because he's like wild-eyed the whole
He
time.
is wild-eyed.
It's
His
scary.
eyes are always just a bit too far open, and they always look too watery.
What does he think he's doing?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is that an acting choice, or is that just like when you're at a dinner party with him, he stares you down
Yeah.
in normal?
I would call the police if I caught him looking my direction.
Right? It's terrifying.
Be like, there is a man. There's a crazed man staring at me.
He won't blink.
He will not blink.
He's giving such a weird performance, including I kept thinking about the bit at the end where he's flirting with the water tribe princess, which is a
Yeah.
great part of the show, and they really just like skim over it.
What's her name? Princess Yu?
Princess Yue.
They yada yada everything. In this
Yeah,
movie.
they-
hand
that's
wave
true.
all
Yeah.
the important things and none of the.
And
It's
he,
almost like 3 seasons of intricate plotline does not fit into an 80-minute film, because that's what it was. It was 10 minutes of credits.
well, to be fair, like it gets to the midpoint of season 1, 30 minutes in.
Yeah.
To this 100-minute movie.
Yeah.
Way too short.
Yeah.
But he's like looking at her and he's like, well, what would his like eyes so wide, like, well, what would they say of why the princess has white hair? And
Yeah.
it's like so
would they
intimidating
say?
and creepy. And she's like, ha ha ha.
It is strange that they decided to like make this TV show into a movie.
Yeah.
It's a really odd choice. I understand a TV show getting made out of a film because someone's like, wow, the lore of the world is so interesting. Let's explore it further. Whereas turning a TV show into a movie is like, let's take it again and then give it no time and not take it further. If anything, let's
Yeah.
reduce it to
Yeah.
a very bare bones plot. Let's take away all of this world building that we did and just give you the absolute skeleton of what you got in the show.
You could make like 6 movies with it because like the midpoints of each of the seasons in the show are really like strong turning points.
Yeah. Well, I assume it was going to have follow-ups because it ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
It also
where-
starts with it's so confident. It goes book 1, water. You're like, geez,
Yeah,
coming out
yeah.
of the gate. You think you're getting a 3?
Yeah, good luck.
I read Nickelodeon had assigned $250 million for the trilogy, and then
Holy shit!
Shyamalan spent 150 of that on the first one.
Fucking hell.
And they're like, if that's what 150 got us, what is like 75?
Yeah.
What did you
Get us
do with
next
the
Would have
whole
time?
meant
of it?
2 and 3 would have to be 50 each.
Yeah.
Maybe they're better at it by then. I was also going to say, like, I don't know who it's for. Because surely every kid that loves Avatar just would watch the TV
Avatar.
show. It's
Yeah.
for kids. It's a cartoon. Kids love cartoons. So who is this movie for?
It's for the people that want less than, you know?
Genuinely.
Do you want something mediocre?
Do you want-
something you can digest in 1.5 hours?
Do you want what's really cool in animation to be less cool because it's kind of impossible to do in live
Do
action?
you want us to take things that work really well in animation and try and do it in live action and just not at all achieve it? Well, have I got the film for you? Every time I was the whole time through, like the whole way I was watching it, I was like, this is why it's an animation.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's things in it
100%.
that happen that just work better as an animation.
That's my theory about why the bending looks bad because it looks fucking
Same.
hideous. in this,
100%
right?
same.
But the
some of
bending in
it-
the show.
the bending in the show looks
incredible, and the
fantastic.
action sequences in the show.
Yeah, and
but
the
I-
sound.
I think like
Yes.
things like the water bending, I think they are trying, but I think like it being animated has the same effect as like practical effects do, where like even if it doesn't look great, we know it's of the same world.
Yeah.
And so when it's all just like it's goo, it's more CG goo.
Ah,
the water
goo.
isn't water, it's goo, and the
goo.
air
Oh,
is
it's
goo,
goo.
and the rocks are solid goo.
Goo.
They all look like goo.
Goo.
This movie, it's Avatar, the last goo bender.
Goob.
He's just a goo boy.
Goob. Goob.
And that was Michelle's Goo Corner.
Michelle's Goob Corner.
Let's blow those mics out.
Yeah, you guys really blew the mics out. Yeah, I think what you guys are forgetting about why it was made is that executives have to justify their jobs by making movies constantly. So you just
Yeah.
make movies just to make movies.
Yeah.
And my retort to that is sometimes you don't have to do it. Sometimes you just don't have to
Just
make anything.
imagine being the people that started the show and then just watching this hideous film roll out and like would they have just been like, were they heartbroken?
Yeah, well,
Because there was a lot of pride, I'm sure, that went into the show.
Well, and they also like are they're the caretakers of it. They're still
Yeah,
working
the
on
custodians.
it. Yeah, they did Korra, like the Legend of Korra, and now they've kind
it's
of
their baby.
they're managing like Avatar Pictures, which is like a thing Nickelodeon
wow.
made. Yeah, and they're doing like new shows and new movies and stuff.
Yeah.
But so yeah, like to have this thing that you built that like people love and that
Yeah.
I like genuinely is like one of my favorite TV shows ever.
Yeah.
It just be completely mistranslated and have everything that's special about it ripped out. Like not even just the story and the fight scenes and how the bending works, but also like all of the like really beautiful spiritual stuff and spiritual stuff that like really connected to me as a kid, and they're kind of like influences and bringing in like Eastern philosophy for children is really beautiful.
There's a lot of spiritualism in it, and there's also, just on an emotional note as well, like in the show, Aang is wrestling with the fact that his absence has caused this to happen. He is grappling with
genocide. Because
he's
he
grappling
exists
with the ramifications of the choices he made, and he very quickly has to grow up. I mean, you just don't feel that in this film at all.
Yeah, and it's a show that's like had so many essays written about it, and people keep talking about it because it has such deep thematic weight for a kids show. Like it wants to be about things.
Yeah,
and this movie is just like, how about it was about nothing and we just handwave past anything interesting? It's just awful.
And again, how can we reduce the very intricate relationships that we set up in the show between Katara, between Aang, between Zuko and Aang, like all of these incredible relationships that they build over 3 seasons? How can we reduce that to absolutely nothing?
Nothing.
Well, it's funny because it's cut down. I did write down some of the production stuff. Shyamalan also addressed criticisms about the barely 90-minute runtime of the film, which was considered bizarre given that it had to condense a 20-episode TV season into one film.
You should be making it 2.5 hours.
Absolutely.
Because it's also pointed out here is a far shorter runtime than is typical for summer blockbusters, which are usually 2 hours, 2 hours 20.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Shyamalan's response was that all of his previous films were 90 minutes because they were small-scale supernatural thrillers, and as a result, his instinct for the pacing of the film was to edit it down to 90 minutes. The short runtime indirectly led to several other problems, which multiple critics objected to. Characters frequently resort to giving long speeches of exposition to summarize entire scenes that were cut for time, and a running voiceover commentary by Katara was added in which she summarizes entire subplots.
Oh my God.
That was added?
It makes sense because the narration was truly somehow one of the weakest bits of the film.
Absolutely one of the weakest parts. It's awful. Yeah.
That's what Shyamalan said, but there's also reports that about 30 minutes of footage was cut from the theatrical release because Paramount Pictures wanted the film converted to 3D as quickly as possible in an effort to save money.
Cameron?
Yeah.
It's because of Avatar. It's
Yeah.
because of fucking Avatar. It's because of the
called
other
The Last
Avatar.
Airbender because James Cameron had already copyrighted Avatar.
God damn it.
I love that
Years
Avatar
earlier.
fucked over The Last Airbender.
It really did.
They had to change the name. They had to add the suffix "The Last Airbender."
Yeah. Even though the show came out first, James Cameron had been working on the shit for like 10 years, so he'd already copyrighted it.
Fuck it.
No way. So they came out with the show and then the movie was coming out, so they had to change it to Avatar.
The show
Last
was
Airbender.
originally just going to be called Avatar, but James Cameron had already copyrighted it. So they added The Last Airbender, and then with the movie, they just dropped Avatar because they're like, this is too confusing.
Because it had come out first.
People still get confused with it, so
They do. But both you... I cannot believe his excuse, because it feels like
I'm
an
used
excuse.
to it.
Oh, I've just only ever made 90-minute movies. How do you make any movie
don't know how to
longer?
make
I don't
anything.
understand. What do you mean, man?
that's what I do.
That would be like
I'm Boston.
No, he's from Philly.
Oh, he's from Philly.
that would be like
little M. Night from Philly.
I mean, that would be like me, like having only directed shorts, being like, well, I just don't know how to make a movie longer than 12 minutes.
it's what
I'll
I'm
never
used
do it.
to.
You release your 9-minute blockbuster.
Yeah, what the fuck, M. Night?
I want to know so badly about the production of this film. I want to know so badly how it got so butchered.
I have to know.
Okay, let me tell you some of the trivia then.
Yeah.
All right, so here's some trivia. There was so much to sift through, by the way, as you can imagine.
This is the kind of movie that would have so much.
Yeah. In the spring of 2010, before the film's release, director M. Night Shyamalan was quoted by Entertainment Weekly as saying The Last Airbender was his best movie.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
Sorry, I had
Better
to
than
not
the
say
Sixth
anything
Sense?
because I was flabbergasted. I didn't have anything to say to that.
I just thought that was so fun.
Excuse me?
I know
Excuse
when
me,
you're doing
M. Night?
like the press, the press, you
Sure.
always say that, but like, come on.
Is he just mistaking it for the biggest budget he ever wasted?
It was the best use of a shitload of money as a tax write-off for him. Like, was that it?
The first draft of the script included all 20 episodes from the first season, which added up a running time of over 7 hours.
What?
Paramount
Great,
and
way better,
Nickelodeon
way
asked
better.
M. Night Shyamalan to cut material in order to make a more condensed feature film, to which Shyamalan agreed. Now, I included that because that's also like an insane
It
piece of
also
trivia to write.
conflicts, again, what he had said earlier of, I'm not used to
Yeah.
making long films. It's like, but you wrote a
7
7-hour
hours.
Apparently, they just
film.
glued all the things together, and then they were like, "You have to make this shorter." And he was like, "Okay,
I don't know what I'm doing.
all right." Actor Jackson Rathbone was nominated for the 2010 Razzie Award for Worst Supporting Actor for both The Last Airbender and Twilight Saga Eclipse.
Oh my god! Did he win for one of them?
He won
All-star.
for Last Airbender.
Yeah,
good.
he was
Yeah,
shocking
yeah.
in this.
He
really
deserves that
was.
award. He really does.
There was like a moment that they tried to make his character, because, you know, what's his name again? Sorry?
Soccer.
Soccer is like literally the comedic relief
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the original
He's a
show.
big
There's
man,
one
baby.
scene where they attempted to do it where like Katara's trying to waterbend and she accidentally freezes him and he just goes, Katara! And then it cuts. And that feels a lot like the show,
Yeah.
but it doesn't work in this film because they're not charming.
Well, we didn't talk about this, and Michelle might shoot me because this is in the trivia section. But
What the fuck?
we
You stepping on my turf, bro?
yeah, I'm stepping on it. But like we didn't even talk about the tone of Avatar: The Last Airbender, the
Holy
show
shit.
versus
Yeah,
this
true.
movie.
So
Like,
different.
This movie is so dour. Aang is
Yeah.
like this like poor, fallen, conflicted hero with
Very
no joy.
serious.
And in the show, he's like a 10-year-old boy running away from like genocide. You know?
Yeah.
And
Even
it's
though,
fun.
Even
'cause
though
it's for
the
kids.
show handles heavy themes,
Yeah.
it's a kid's show. It's
Yeah.
lighthearted.
And it's got, like,
there's a lot of comedy.
slapstick and-
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
heaps of
and they make
comedy.
fun of Aang a lot, being like, even though he's the most powerful person on earth, he's still just a kid.
He's still got a lot to learn. It's
Yeah.
literally the opening monologue.
It's almost as if these characters were devoid of character.
yeah. It's meant to be fun.
This is my favorite pieces of the trivia. Jesse McCartney was originally cast to play Zuko.
Excuse me? Excuse me? Zuko?
Yeah.
But he's also... So they were going to have more white people. And it was going to be Jesse McCartney. I don't want my love to go to
Yeah.
waste.
Yeah, that guy.
I want you.
Yeah.
Your
Also voiced
beautiful
Roxas in
soul.
Kingdom Hearts 2.
What the fuck?
Yeah, he was meant to be Zuko.
What? A blonde guy. A blonde Hollywood heartthrob
No
was going to
idea.
play Zuko.
No idea what they were going to do with the rest of
As
them.
much as we complained about the way they casted this, at least Dev Patel was a person of color.
Yeah, I mean, like Cliff Curtis may be Maori instead of Indian, but I think it would have been hard for him to pull off Ozai if Jesse McCartney as Zuko.
Oh my god.
But was replaced with Dev Patel due to scheduling conflicts.
They actually wanted Brad Pitt as Ozai.
Oh wait. So
However-
he was cast.
Yes,
Oh.
He was
So
like
it was originally
actually going
cast to
be
play
in
Zuko.
the
Holy
movie. It wasn't
shit.
like, oh, that was the first pick or whatever.
However, McCartney has since claimed that he had been replaced by the producers for political reasons shortly before filming began and had no say in the matter.
Political reasons?
And he had no say.
With the political
Right.
reasons, they realized that they cast every other person in the Fire Nation as a person of color.
This is shortly before filming. Like, they didn't recast the entire Fire Nation.
what the? F-
Maybe, I reckon some executive had, like pocketed Jesse McCartney for a project, and then M. Night was like, I'm not doing that. And this exec took, like, way too long to tell McCartney about it.
Oh my god.
Jesus.
That's so weird.
This I thought was a weird piece of trivia. When casting for the cancelled sequel initially commenced, a fan discussion forum was posted online asking for suggestions on who should play Toph, a major character introduced in Book 2, Earth.
My favorite character.
Same.
Yeah.
Toph is
Toph is
fantastic.
incredible.
With a few requirements being the existence of an IMDb page and the actress being of Asian descent. Many suggested Chloe Grace Moretz, despite
No.
being non-Asian.
Stop
No, they
it.
didn't.
Stop it. And
No,
they
they
would have made Toph not blind in the film as well, just
sure.
to add to it.
Sure. They would have done
She's
the
gotta be
thing
white
in
and
like
she's-
when they do the play in season 3 and
yeah.
they depict Toph as like a big jacked dude who can
Yeah,
like see
yeah.
through echolocation.
Yes.
He's not actually blind.
Yes.
They were gonna do that.
Oh my god.
Jesus.
Chloe Grace Moretz.
But when she was questioned about the role, she was rather enthusiastic about it and said she would accept if offered. Mila Jovovich, when hearing the announcement of a possible sequel, asked her agent immediately to make sure she got a role in the film when production commenced, as she was a fan of the animated series. It was rumored that she was eyeing the role of Ursa, Zuko's mother.
No.
Who isn't in the show?
Isn't in it.
No, she's in like a
Yeah,
couple
isn't she
flashbacks.
She's
dead?
eyeing a role that's...
Well-
she's not... There isn't.
Yeah.
Abby, if you read the comics, no, she's not dead.
Oh.
Just a little tease for you. Very good comics, very good continuation. It was really good.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm you know, to be honest, I'll read them. It's hard when it's like a comic that's from an existing property because like sometimes they're real just cash-ins.
Totally.
Sometimes like they can be really good.
But as I said before, like they are the keepers. They
Yeah.
write the comics. They pick the people that write the comics. They're actually controlled by people.
All right. According to M. Night Shyamalan, the mispronunciation of the names of some of the characters, Aang, Sokka, Avatar, is due to the fact that he wished to honor the source material and use the Asian pronunciation.
But is it the Asian pronunciation?
I don't know.
Ong?
I don't know.
Avatar, at least.
Avatar
at the
is
very
hard.
least,
I'll
is
give him. No, I think it might be
I think
Avatar,
it's
really?
crazy.
in Sanskrit.
I feel like, but because you watch the show and you're so used to just hearing those words said in a very
Yeah.
particular way again and again, it's very jarring.
Well, it's
for it
also
to be
funny, like,
done.
I want to use the Asian pronunciation, but not people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. That's a step
Oh,
too
I
far.
want to use the
Can't do that.
culture.
Can't do that.
During the first conversation between Fire Lord Ozai and General Zhao, we can see that Ozai's eyes move left to right while he looks in the direction of Zhao's chest, thus revealing the use of a prompter.
Of a what?
Like a teleprompter.
Oh.
So Cliff Curtis is probably just reading his lines off of
That's
a
wild.
fucking
Well, that's because he
teleprompter.
did all of his scenes in a day, right? And he hadn't read
Probably.
the script.
In what
I
looks
think.
like in the movie a dingy little backwater Polish kingdom, not the fucking Fire Nation.
Every establishing shot where they're like, it's the Fire Nation or it's the Earth Kingdom. I'm like, where are the buildings? Where are they? I can only see trees. What? This isn't a kingdom.
Now, you know what I have a bunch of that I've been excited for the whole time?
Yes.
Some weirdly written goofs.
Yes. All right, I'm ready.
Yes.
Bring them on.
In the television series, the Earthbender prison is on a metal ship at sea, and metal bending is not yet invented. In the movie, the prison is on ground, which proves to me a major story problem.
Yeah. We've
never had-
covered that.
Yeah. Michelle came red hot for that one.
Yeah.
In Britain, bender is a slang term for a male homosexual, so lines in this movie such as, "Look out, he's a bender," resulted in plenty of giggling in UK movie theatres, making it difficult for the audiences to take the film seriously. That's a goof that was listed.
Do you think someone
Really?
who wrote that went to multiple theaters and watched this movie multiple times to find out just how many British people were laughing at it?
Core, blimey, they're giggling.
They're giggling again.
They're giggling in these theatres. In the original show, Sokka is a comic relief character. However, no comedy comes from the Sokka in the movie, which garnered significant criticism.
Are these goofs?
These are listed in the goofs.
Wild.
No comedy is such a good burn though.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what I'm saying. Like, these are
harsh.
listed in goofs is not funny.
Yeah.
When Katara first sees Appa rising in the air, she describes it as floating. Appa is actually levitating, not floating, as objects
tell
only
him.
float when they are positively buoyant or less dense than their surroundings.
Wow.
That's
That's
a
a
goodie.
real like grammar Nazi vibe to
Yeah.
that.
The old man, Randall.Kim, was conspiring against Aang to turn him into the Fire Nation soldiers. This is in the Northern Air Temple.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Into the Fire Nation soldiers for a reward when he arrived at the Air Temple. How did the old man at the temple and the soldiers know he would be there? There's no scene where the old man goes to inform the soldiers that the Avatar has arrived.
It's actually true.
It's a very good point. It's almost like this movie is badly plotted.
These goofs are never wrong. It's
No.
just the fact that someone took time to
Yeah.
write this shit down.
This one,
To tell people.
I don't know. We have a whole podcast about this. Who am I to judge?
when Aang...
You dedicated your life to
Yeah,
watching
I was like,
IMDb
who
movies.
has the time
so,
for that?
yeah.
We're talking about it for 2 hours.
Our life, obviously, because the end of the final episode is going to be us, like, Thelma and Louising ourselves off of a cliff.
As you record, and then I have to edit the final podcast.
That's your honor.
I open a box.
Get the black box.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think I'm having a moment where I'm realizing that every week I criticize people for going on IMDb and wasting their time writing this shit. But I'm the person that's then retelling it to people all over the
think
world.
you're right,
the
that that's more of a
benefits.
waste
It's
of time.
more of a waste of time that we're then repeating it and criticizing
All right,
them
cut the
for
segment.
it.
Cut it. When Aang first starts airbending at the prison camp, the gusts of air that he's generating don't actually ruffle anyone's clothes or hair, or even the dirt and sand beneath their feet, revealing that it's simply a special effect.
Crazy.
Jesus.
You got him.
Oh, he's got him.
This is the last one. I know there's been a lot. When Admiral Zhao is killed, the snow on the ground dissolves in a soapy white mix in the water poodle around his body, unlike real snow.
The water poodle.
Oh, the water poodles.
I don't remember that bit of Avatar.
Yeah, neither do I. I didn't know that was the fifth bending, but I guess it is.
You guys want to hear some reviews?
Yeah.
Yes.
This movie has 5% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Whoa.
Wow.
4.1 on IMDb.
That's crazy.
Jesus.
This is the real story, is the disparity between those scores.
Yeah, because IMDb is users and Rotten Tomatoes is a amalgamation
consortium
of
of
users.
critics who gave it above or below 70%.
Yeah.
75?
70,
And then also some
75%.
user reviews as well. But yeah, that's
Fuck. 5%.
that's a huge disparity.
Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times.
Ebert.
The The Last Airbender is an agonizing experience in every category I can think of, and others still waiting to be invented. The laws of chance suggest that something should have gone right. Not here. It puts a nail in the coffin of low-rent 3D, but it will need a lot more coffins than that.
Man, I agree with him. I kept trying to turn to you and do the thing I do whenever I watch movies. I'm like looking for the good thing, and I was trying to be like, yeah, the coverage is not this time. No, it's actually
time,
all
baby.
just bad.
No,
yeah.
except Dev Patel. This is what we're talking
That's
about.
true. Dev Patel,
the one
good.
saving grace.
But eBay nail on the head with that one.
And Charlie Jane Anders of IO9 said, the personality-free hero, the nonsensical plot twist, the CG clutter, the bland romance, the new age pablum. Actually, my exact words when I walked out of this film were, wow, this makes Dragon Ball Evolution look like a masterpiece. A movie that we're going to cover in the final 50.
Yes!
Here's an IMDb review. It's titled, I Did Love It, by Leo Normandoza 48428. I know many people didn't like it, but I do. It's highly filled with fantasy, and I like it most the relationship with martial arts. 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean,
Boy knows what he likes.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I feel about the show.
It's fantasy, it's martial arts. There's no reason not to like it.
10 out of 10.
There's a full score.
10 out of 10, baby.
This review is titled Pay No Mind to the Haters by Vegan Healer.
Vegan healer.
This movie is awesome! I do wish they would have split it up into books like they did the animated series. Could have been an epic saga. It's impossible to duplicate the amazing Nickelodeon series. But M. Night did a great job. Love the special effects.
What's this fuck me up?
The music. The sweet martial arts moves. This movie has it all. Especially with the long action sequences. Never seen anything like it. Love it. 10 out of 10.
The pauses are agonizing.
The pauses are incredible. They're awful. And also for the listeners at home, the thing you missed being in the room is like watching Michelle's face try to like understand what these words are meant to be. It's incredible.
So hard sometimes.
Sometimes Michelle... It's hard to see Michelle in more of a state of euphoria than when she's reading reviews.
That's true.
From IMDb.
Honestly, that's absolutely true.
She likes that.
So much joy.
I will say, I do love that the one critique they give is they wish they would have split it up into books, which is the only thing they did do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's book one, water. Two more.
This is the last one. It's titled Best Movie Ever. Thank you for making it by Nat and Bill.
Honey.
My daughter and I have never loved the same type of movies or shows. Finally, when she was 10, this movie was released. We absolutely love it. She's a big Avatar cartoon fan. I was not! Today, I'm a big Avatar fan. This movie is very well made. Don't listen to all the bad reviews. It may not honor the stories written about the Avatar, but the movie is insanely entertaining. Our favorite to this day, she is now 15 years old, and we watch it over and over again. We're both holding hope for part 2. By the way, this was left in 2018.
Oh, it's not coming.
Highly recommended. Thank you, M. Night Shyamalan. 10 out of 10.
You saved my family,
Wow.
M.
You
Night.
saved my family, M. Night.
I am happy that she finally got to enjoy something with her daughter.
Yeah,
I'll give her that.
That's
really
really
actually
nice.
quite sweet.
Well,
I'm
I don't know
not-
whether this was Nat or Bill.
I think they should
It's
maybe
both.
watch
it's
other
both.
movies though.
Yeah.
I do think they should watch maybe at least one other
Yeah,
movie.
probably at least one other movie. Just try it.
One movie I wouldn't recommend, though, is Artemis Fowl.
Yeah, that does not unite people.
I hate that stinker. But hey, there was these people on IMDb. Abby, what was your thoughts?
Well, it was a wild ride to watch it for the first time as an adult and as someone that has watched the entire show and really enjoyed it a few years back. Like, I came into the Avatar world fully as an adult and never got to watch it as a kid. Watching the film as an adult, watching it for the first time today, again, I said this at the start and I stand by it, fully shocked just by how visually bad it was. Like, I don't tend to look at films being like, why did they choose that shot? And like, why did they choose that technique? But I did with this. I was honestly like, why did they move the camera like that? And why did he cut there? Why wouldn't you cut at this bit? I don't tend to question those things as much as maybe Michelle. I'm always story heavy. But yeah, this visually fucked me up. Every single thing about it was wrong, except Dev Patel and the guy that played Iroh. But I so loved it. I loved watching it. I had a great time watching it because of how bad it was. And I'm not saying I would never watch it again. It was so bad, it would be worth another visit. So for that reason, I'm giving it a 3.2 out of 10.
Ooh, spicy.
Yeah, 3.2 out of 10.
I think you're onto something.
And it was short.
Yeah, it
It
was
was
short.
definitely short.
I think
Good
you're
God.
onto something because something like Zombie Strippers is ostensibly worse filmmaking, but I'm not like baffled by the choices because I'm like, oh, you just didn't make a choice, or like you made a bad.
And also, you had like a smaller budget and you were a first-time director.
Well, yeah, and it's like the choices you made just weren't very good. Whereas these are like anti-choices. It's like the thing you should have done, you did the opposite thing.
Yeah.
You did that thing well, but that's completely the wrong thing
And
to have
there's
done.
no lack of funds or experience to excuse
Nope.
it either. And that's what baffles me. about this
150
film.
million.
I mentioned to Gaden, I've mentioned many times that the like this podcast's origin can be traced back to the old bad movie nights.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
are like because of my fascination with this kind of thing. Like not just a movie that is bad, but like a studio big budget thing that is a complete front to back clusterfuck.
Yeah.
There's so many people's approval that needs to be stamped on every element of these productions that
Yeah.
it is mind-boggling that it gets as bad as this.
Yeah.
And that endlessly entertains me, which is why I've seen this now 4 times. And I probably would go in for a 5th with some space and time.
Yeah.
You know? So I think you've actually nailed it. I think I'm going to give it a 3.2 as well. I think you fucking nailed it. You hit it.
And what are you going to give it, Gaden?
Gaden.
Well, I came into Avatar as a kid. I also used to shave my head a lot as a kid, and Aang is one of the only characters I've ever cosplayed as.
Oh, that's so
I've had the
sweet.
tattoos. I shaved my head for a swimming
it's
carnival. I
Aang.
had the tattoo. Don't tell me that. I had the tattoos like painted on and everything. So this, and as someone who was like little and into martial arts, this show meant a lot to me. And this movie is everything that I hate. And so while you have been very kind and sweet about wanting to watch it again, I've never felt my eyes like reject something so much. I wrote in my Letterboxd review, because this is the first movie I watched in 2023. Thank you both. It doesn't even deserve stars like on Letterboxd, so it gets a 0 from me.
Oh my god.
Fuck this movie. Fuck this
Well,
movie.
your brain hasn't turned into
Gaden.
mush like ours.
Exactly. I'm no bad movie expert, okay? I just don't like it.
I know. I'm glad you're doing a 0. Something's got to bring the fucking ratio down because our scores went too high for a while.
Yeah.
So I love it, Gaden.
I don't-
Keep it up.
I'm pretty sure the like whenever we have guests, it's always lower because
Because we're crazy.
we're nuts.
We're nuts
Your
now.
brains are soup.
There's a reason that these aren't the people who do this every week.
I don't know what's good and bad anymore. You know?
Sometimes, like when I watch a new A24 movie, I'm like, is this on the list? I can't tell anymore.
I went to go see Banshees of Inisherin and I was like, terrible. Where were the boobs and the explosions
Where's that Poothy?
and the CGI?
Where's the terrible voiceover that skips over everything that's
Where's
interesting?
the exposition?
Where's Sylvester Stallone? You know? Well, hey, but I mean, that was just our thoughts. That was our reviews. Those were our giggles. Those were our funnies. You've been here with us on the trials and tribulations. If you enjoyed all of that, then you can find us on other media and join us. You can find us on Twitter at RateDescendPod. You can find us on TikTok at Rating Descending, or you can email us at ratingdescending@gmail.com. We love the emails. We love reading them. We love reading them out. And I love talking to everybody.
Or you can find us on our personal accounts. I'm on Instagram under Abigail J. Ward. Gaden, where can people find you?
I'm also on Instagram at Gaden, which is Gaden salad.
Yeah. Tasty little Gaden salad.
Oh my god, I just
me
realized
up.
it's meant to be garden salad.
Yeah.
I never got it
Yeah.
before.
And also my last name is Sousa, so it also kind of works with that.
Yeah. You know how like Gaden and Garden and then Sousa and salad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go together.
Hand in hand.
For sure.
Cheese
yeah.
and wine, baby.
Like a
See,
horse and carriage.
We'll punch it up.
Where can people find you, Michelle?
Well, I'm on both Twitter and Instagram at Michelle.St. This is the year I'm gonna do a letterbox, but I haven't made it yet because
Do
Nice.
because it's one too few characters to just put my full name, which is my usual strategy. So I need to come up with
What
a
if
handle.
you were just Mish St. Clair?
No.
Okay.
Because I want people to call me Michelle.
What
They
if
don't,
it
they're
was
not my friends. They don't know me.
STC?
I thought of
What-
that, but then I'm
maybe-
like, it sounds like I work for a company or something.
But please do it because it's fun and I want to see what you would write on it.
I'll do it.
No,
Maybe
I love mine.
I think
I think I'm just Gaden Sousa.
I think for like
USA.
for Discord for D&D, like we put in an auto generator for usernames, like things I liked or things that my friends thought I liked, and so I was Labia Saint Space.
Yeah, that was good.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Maybe you can find me on Letterboxd at Labia Saint Space.
And don't forget to leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah.
It really makes a difference.
Go on, it does.
surely if you listened this long, you think it's at least a 3.
Yeah, you're
I've
still
done
around.
it. You should do it too.
Oh, Gaden.
Aw, Gaden.
Stop it.
Oh,
I like
You're
the podcast.
obsessed with us.
that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
That's really neat. But hey, Abby, that was The Last Airbender. What are we watching next week?
Next week, Michelle, we are watching Norbit.
Great. That's really
That's great.
That's
Another Eddie Murphy.
Another Eddie
slapstick.
What I
Good old time. I love the way he makes fun of fat people.
Yeah, my favorite part of Eddie Murphy is how much he fucking hates fat people.
really does.
It's awesome.
And I'll be watching something better.
Yeah.
I promise you.
As someone under 30, what I love is only seeing the very worst of Eddie Murphy's career.
Well, join us next time, guys.
See you then,
Bye.
nerds.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Shut up, Gator.
That was weeks ago.
So.
Get out of here.
Get out!
Go away.